Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a Pilates teacher. I'm a studio owner. I'm a mum of two. I'm like busy like most of you probably are. And for about 10 years before I became a teacher, I also suffered from chronic neck, lower back, and at times ankle pain. And really it was through Pilates that I really truly healed myself. I had seen every specialist known to man: pain specialists, neurosurgeons, orthopedic surgeons, physiotherapists, osteopaths. They all helped to a degree, but none of them really helped me get better. And really movement and learning about how my body moves and why it was feeling the way it was feeling helped empower me to realize that I could absolutely heal myself. I always get asked, can I do some videos on back pain? I know it's like a huge topic people really want to, especially during the pandemic. There's a lot of being at home and people are noticing that they have maybe more discomfort in their bodies. And look, my speciality, my specialism as a teacher is chronic pain. So yeah, why wouldn't I do this? Well, I tell you why I've held off this long is actually because everybody is unique and everyone's situation is unique. Their history is unique. You know, pain is multifaceted. Yes, it can be to do with muscles and tightness, and it can be to do with bones and discs, but it's also to do with emotions, family situations, work situations, like how you feel about yourself, any other maybe chronic conditions that you're working through. Things like ME have a big link to chronic pain. And so what I don't want to do is create a like one size fits all, do this and you will be better, because that attitude is what I think kept me like that, like in pain for 10 years, was I was kind of following guides on what I'm supposed to do and then going, well, I'm not getting better and I'm not getting better. So I've kind of held off because I don't really want to do that. And you know, if you're currently have an acute disc injury, or you've got a stenosis, or you've got a scoliosis, like it's going to be a different approach for you. Equally, if you've not got a kind of pathology condition, there's going to be things that are going to be idiosyncratic for you too. So I want you to be aware of that. Equally, I woke up yesterday in pain for the first time in so long. And I thought that I would just share with you what I do for my body and why I do it to try and help me get out of some pain. So hopefully this will give you maybe some tips and help. You might feel like this is kind of relevant to you, but equally, if this doesn't feel good, please don't do it. And please, you know, there is no magic. If I just do this, boom, it will be better. Our body is wonderfully complex. It's got this incredible wisdom about it. And when you overly simplify it, you kind of start to not really get in tune. You're kind of taking your body away from understanding how it is. It wants to be well. It wants to be pain-free. It wants to be healthy. What we're always trying to do with movement and with any of the well-being tips on this platform is help your body find its homeostasis, its place of balance. So just know that, and know that, you know, there is, like I said, I literally had clients saying, I've just told that my hamstrings are tight, my glutes are weak, or, you know, I've got a weak core. If I could just sort that out, boom, it's going to be better. It isn't. That doesn't mean that it's overly complex, the solution. It just means understand that it's a whole body approach, okay? So for me, what I tend to get is this left side of my neck in particular can get really quite sore. Years ago, it was nerve pain all the way down into my hands. I actually thought I had problems with my shoulder for a long time. That's where I felt it. And through this work, I realized actually it's my neck that is the problem. I then years later actually got a bulging disc on the same side. And years before that, I'd actually had an ankle injury on my right side, had surgery on it, so I had some ligaments put back together. I never really linked them up and realized they are absolutely linked. This is what I mean. The body is just this amazing piece of machinery that all works together. And what I'm experiencing at the moment is just a kind of an awareness. I wouldn't even call it pain, like an awareness on this left side, and an awareness kind of in this left glute as well. Like I just feel like a tightness. I don't feel very balanced. I don't know what I look like to you on screen, but I kind of feel like I'm kind of doing this. I might not be, but that's what it feels like to me. And for me, what I nearly always work with on so many clients as a starting point is the pelvis. So the pelvis, to me in my mind, is like the center of us. The upper and lower body come from here. And if the pelvis has got any little bit out of whack, then really the spine is kind of trying to manage it. And in particular, the neck and the head is trying to kind of manage it. So the head obviously wants to be centered. So if your pelvis is kind of like this, your head doesn't really want to be like this, so your head will do this. And then suddenly, which I think is what happens to me, it gets a bit grumpy in there. So for me, I'm always looking, if I'm giving anyone tips on back pain, it's make sure you've got space in your pelvis. So your pelvis is in these, to simplify it, is in these two halves. The halves kind of move like this. If you're a lady, okay, and you've had a baby, they also move apart and together in pregnancy, okay? For men and women, there's a disc at the front. Well, it's not a disc, but the pubic symphysis is a bit like a disc, kind of between these two places. And then the spine sits down at the back. And what you want is for all of this just to be in a really nice place of balance. But what I so often see is, if you can imagine the base of your pelvis is this sitting bones, these little bony bits right at the bottom, they get a bit kind of tight down there. Usually sitting, if you think about it, if you're sat down now, I'm doing it now, sat here talking to you, you kind of slightly slump. Even if you're sat in, pretty good posture, there's kind of an element of the pelvis kind of closes at the bottom a little bit to sit. That's kind of natural. There's nothing wrong with that so much. Problem is we do so much sitting that then this becomes where it's at. And when we try and stand up and get here, we can't. So the pelvis ends up kind of maybe rocking back a little bit here. For some people it's kind of forwards, but for most people what I see is kind of it tucked under like this. And so what I'm always looking at, and I'm looking at in my own body, is first just to see, have I got some space there? I love Franklin balls. These are quite soft balls. You can buy them on our site. You can buy them, I think, on Amazon. They're on quite a few places. They're about £25. And they're quite soft. You could use spiky balls. I wouldn't use anything too hard. But you could use your hands if you haven't got any of these, okay? But I'm just going to ask you to come and lay down. If you've got two balls like this, you're going to just place them either side of your sacrum. So if this is your sacrum coming down here, and this is kind of the fleshy part of your bum, boom, you can place them here, okay? If you haven't got balls, then you could just kind of have your hands just feeling this, but I'd recommend you get some balls. You're going to realize they are your friend. You're going to lay your hands on your pelvis, and I just want you to gently rock your pelvis back. So you're going to feel your lower back just drop towards the ground a little bit, and then roll your pelvis away from you. So just noticing that the pelvis has a range of movement. Can you feel that? And I want you to bring your awareness to your sitting bones. If you're not sure what your sitting bones are, they were what we were sat on before. You can kind of reach down and usually kind of find them, these little pointy bones right at the base of your pelvis. And I want you to notice as you send your pelvis away from you, can you feel those sitting bones get wider? And then as the pelvis rolls back, they get narrower. So can you just tune in to this idea of wider and narrower? And I want you to place your hands, just rest them on your ribs. And I don't want your ribs to really do too much. Now, that doesn't mean like make loads of stiffness in your ribs. But so often what happens is if it's tight right down there, the ribs end up doing this work. And I don't really want that so much. Okay? I want you to feel like the ribs can stay heavy. And instead, you can just kind of play with this movement. Now, for most of us, me included today, I'm tight here, okay? Not like hugely tight, but I can feel on this left side that I was feeling something like there's a tugging. So I'm going to go slowly. I'm going to make this almost like a breath practice. I'm going to inhale as I send my pelvis away, finding that space. And then I'm going to exhale, just really let it relax, like no real work. Inhale. As I send the pelvis away, I'm sort of visualizing my sitting bones reaching over the balls and apart, and the tailbone reaching through. And I'm thinking about all the fibers that connect the sitting bones into the body. Just kind of imagine loads of fibers, like that the fibers could just slide apart. It's subtle. I wouldn't even call it a stretch. And then rolling back. The less you do, the more powerful this is. So don't force anything, don't really use your muscles, just rocking and rolling. Making sure that your jaw's relaxed, there's no tension up here. Fascially, the back of your tongue and your pelvic floor are connected. And we're really asking, this is pelvic floor stuff as well, we're asking for that to give. So if you're kind of holding tension in your jaw, it's going to be holding right down there. Now, if you've got the balls, what can be really nice is just to rock a little bit side to side. And like I said, I'm a little bit tight in my glutes. So I'm going to just move the ball. You can hear a load of squelching, but I'm going to just kind of let my body direct where I want this to be. So let your body talk to you, okay? It really, really has this wisdom. It knows what it's doing. And just kind of let your body go on a bit of a journey. No right or wrong. Giving it a bit of a massage, and I am tight in there. So I'm really going to just walk. Can you see? I'm just letting myself, I'm just really on one ball now. That's really where my body is saying, okay, there's something going on. And don't fight it. That's the key, okay? If you're like, right, give, stretch, like your body's going to go, no. So just breathe. Now, what can be quite nice is to put these balls either side of your spine. Honestly, it doesn't really matter where. And just rock a little bit side to side. And you can kind of just start moving a little bit. Just doing what feels good. If you are loving this, finding a spot like I did, I'm suddenly noticing bits that I didn't feel before. And then know that you can pause this video and you could just do a little bit more of this. Like, that's absolutely cool. Otherwise, just take the balls out for a moment. It can be really helpful to just stretch the glutes a little bit. So just bring the ankle up to the knee and then just bring the knee up. So you want to feel like there's a knee up and the other knee where you've got the ankle on the knee, that's moving away. Now, what often I see is kind of rolling in like this, and that does get into the glute, but I think it misses the point. So what I want you to feel a little bit more is that you can try and keep a long spine here. So let's just go back to our nice easy breath. And instead of thinking about almost glute stretch and pulling the leg in, could you think about exhaling, tail rolling long, like the tail, like the spine is like a red carpet and you're rolling it away. And when I do it like this, yes, I get glute, but I kind of get into my back, into my pelvis sometimes, maybe my inner thigh. Like I'm going to get much more of a kind of holistic, find length in this space stretch, not just find length in the one thing that I think is tight. And I'm just keeping my breath easy, being nice and relaxed with it. And then when I feel ready, going to bring it down, going to do the other side. I know this side is not very tight, but I might just experience something. Oh, and I'm experiencing something that I didn't really think. There's more there than I thought. So again, feel this is far more like the spine lengthening, like the tailbone could roll away. When you're ready, bring your legs down. Okay. My absolute favorite for just getting my body feeling lengthened and spacious has to be bridging. Okay, so we're just going to do like my little favorite bridging sequence. This works wonderfully on my body. Just see how it feels on yours. So your feet are under your knees, arms are down by your side. Go back to that clock. You haven't got the balls now, but notice as you roll back and roll away, you've still got this sitting bone opening and closing. Can you feel that? So as you roll back, I want you to stand down into your feet a little bit more and feel as you stand down, the pelvis comes up. And just find bridge, and if you kind of like, I need to adjust my feet to make that feel comfortable, then make that feel comfortable. Just take a really nice, wide, spacious breath at the top. And as you exhale, I want you to immediately think about widening and opening the sitting bones. It's gonna make you feel like you're just dropping your bum down, okay? So don't worry about that. That's what I want. But hopefully you're noticing as you come down this way that you're creating some space in all the tissue around the lumbar region. Breath in. As you roll up, notice the sitting bones come together. So can you feel when you're at the top of the bridge, the sitting bones have closed? Take a breath in. As you exhale, chest drops away from your chin, and can you widen open, like immediately feel that width? Get your hands, go from ribs, middle of ribs, and kind of stroke out. That's what I do if you were with me in the room. And find that space. And then rolling up. Breath in. Jaw is still relaxed, remember? Notice that mine had totally creeped tension in there. Now, stay with this if you want, or we're going to add to it. So you're going to bridge all the way up. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale, just come down like one vertebra or a couple of centimeters, like just a teeny weeny bit. This time the pelvis is going to stay level, but you're going to allow it to slide left to right. So maybe you could imagine, I don't know, it's on a skateboard or something, and the skateboard can just slide one way and then the other way. And I just want you to stay around this height and just go. Now you're not dipping one side down, you're doing your best just to let the pelvis slide side to side. Feeling that it's the ribs actually that are sliding, sliding, sliding. And then you're going to drop down a little lower. And you might notice, like I am, whoa, one side is super sticky. Now the trick is if you really try and push into the sticky side, it pushes back. So the more relaxed you can be, and this can be tricky because you're like, oh, can you just give? Can you just click? Can you just pop? It won't. It will if you kind of go, oh, okay, can I bounce? Can I be easy? And then come down and in. And you're going to do this all the way through the spine. In an ideal world, we'd be aiming for about 10 stops. But you might be like me and suddenly realize, oh my goodness, like there's so many segments of my spine that just do not want to move today. So don't fight, bounce. And you're going to just keep going down, doing what you need to do just to see if you can kind of try and mobilize different parts of your spine. This is like giving yourself like an osteopathic treatment. Physios do this kind of thing as well, where they kind of really bounce and get your spine mobilized. Okay, and then rest down. You're going to do one more of those because it just feels so good. Now, I always have a tendency to want to go left first. So I'm going to try and remind myself to go right first. And you say, well, we're kind of doing both sides, but I think it feels subtly different. I don't know why. It just does. And I'm going to become aware of the bits that I really don't want to stop on. Like I always want to probably move through the segments that are moving. So the segments that are not moving, you need to put a little bit of focus on. And just try and slowly move down through your spine. You know, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 bounces either side, a few more if it feels particularly sticky. And I'm already noticing that, that feels better already. And I get down to my lumbars. It's not kind of wanting to give. So I'm just going to move where it is available. Okay, I'm not going to fight for movement that doesn't want to be there. Maybe there's a reason it doesn't want to be there. Maybe my body has some wisdom. Maybe my body has a story about last time I moved there, it didn't feel so good. So just know that you're safe and you're just exploring. When you're done, just pause. We're going to do one last little bit of bridging. Maybe this is even more my favorite sequence. I told you I really love bridging. You're going to reach your arms long. Can you feel how they come off the mat? Can you feel how the shoulders have depressed? So you've got energy. Like these are tubes of energy reaching to your fingers. Everything's long. And as you peel up, you're going to arc your arms over. Don't let them touch the ground. The palms are shining in towards each other. The arms are just floating off the ground. The knees are reaching one way. The arms are reaching the other way. Enjoy a breath in here. Enjoy the space through the sides of the body. And then you're going to exhale and come down, feeling like you're moving away from your fingers. Keep the fingers reaching long away from you. Don't move the arms yet. Just feel like they can stay where they are, but they're reaching away. Take your time coming down, and with a bit of luck, you might get a little something. Only when the whole body's down do the arms come back. Now look, I'm talking to you and I can feel, because I'm doing that, my body's not relaxing. So let's just do a few of these together and we're going to relax. We're going to breathe. We're going to let gravity kind of take us down. So the slower you come down with this, the better. It's almost like each of your ribs feel like they could fall behind you. Fall away from your chin. Noticing anything you're picking up, but don't judge it. Don't fight it. Don't be cross with it. And letting the tissues have some time to release. Let's do one more. Oh, feels better. Arms arc. Now, roll onto your side. And from there, push up. Another tip I want to give you is whenever you do, maybe you do some of our classes and you feel really great at the end of it, or you do one of our little YouTube quicks maybe, don't just then roll and sit up, because you literally, nervous system wise, undo all of that stuff. You've got to let this just sink in. So let's just have a moment. Sit however's comfortable. I love sitting cross-legged. You might want to be knelt. You might want your legs out. Like, I really don't mind. And I just want you to notice whatever you're noticing. Now, I'm not saying it's a magic pill. I'm still noticing this side of me. But it feels maybe a little more dropped. The left sitting bone feels a bit more into the ground. It felt like it was being pulled up before. And this noticing is really, really important. Maybe even more important than the exercises themselves, because noticing and maybe putting some words around it. So whether it's in your head or out loud, please trust me on this. Say how this feels, try and describe it, because this is how your nervous system starts to pick up these patterns, so that, you know, really what we're trying to do is create more efficiency in our movement. And Pilates and these exercises, all really they are is giving your nervous system information so that it can be more efficient. And if you just don't notice that information, then it doesn't really matter that you put it into the system, because you didn't kind of clock it in. So just notice how it feels to be here. How does it feel to breathe? Energetically, I definitely feel calmer. How do you feel? And these are exercises that I do like all the time. I might just do clock. I might just do some bridging. I might just do a bit of side to side. I always try and make sure my mindset is not to rush them, because that kind of gets me into that kind of stressy place that's not so helpful. But these are exercises I go to time and time again. You know, I might kind of roll my shoulders. I might kind of just stretch out. But just know that, you know, you can do whatever feels good for you. You can honor your body. You can tune into its wisdom. And you can understand that pain isn't your body failing you. Pain is your body talking to you, communicating with you that something isn't right. So start listening to it, start acknowledging it, and start allowing yourself to feel connected to the wisdom of your body and see how it reacts. Thank you very much.